pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to who have requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Ecker.
Here.
Councilman Day.
Here.
Councilman Giuliani
Is excused, yes.
Okay. Councilman Giaconetti.
Here.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney Joseph Ragno and our Borough Administrator Kevin Boyd.
Okay, under presentations and updates, we have a Pride Award. I'd like to invite Jeff and, Bernadette, I'm sorry. Yes, whoever's coming up to make questions.
Hello, everybody. We're very excited as a Pride Lake Committee to have brought back our photo contest this year, which we hadn't done in several years as the lake was being remediated. Actually, if you look in the back, you can see some past photos, some winners and runners-up. And every time that we have this contest, I have to say that the photos are absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of participation, and this year we had one winner and 4 runners-up, and Feaster Drazik is here today, who is our winner, with 128 votes on Facebook. That's actually how it was judged, which is very exciting. So she's very popular, and actually the subject of her photo is here as well, her son, who we're going to embarrass and have come up for a photograph with the picture. But she did a wonderful job, and we really appreciate it, and I know it's rather small, but you can take a look and see. We'll be posting all of the photos on our Facebook page and hopefully get some prints done. And we'd also like to consider producing a calendar again this year with all the wonderful photos. And it's terrific because it gives us an opportunity to highlight the beauty of not only our lakes but all of our waterways and see it from a perspective that most of us can't see, because not all of us have the opportunity to get out on the lake and really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
What did you win?
What's that? Oh, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Thank you. And she won a kayak, which is terrific. And we were going to actually drive it here tonight, via the roads, but we thought...
They're gonna paddle.
Yeah, we'll paddle it. But we will get together with you tomorrow. We'll get your address and deliver it to your house tomorrow. And probably have another week or two where you can plop it in the lake and enjoy yourself. But it'll be a lot of fun. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
have.
picture.
Why don't you come
There you go.
I think you were wearing that yellow raincoat too, no? Stand next to the mayor.
I will not remember that.
You don't remember? It's here forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
So our Pride group, while they're leaving, they're running out of this room real quick, but they do a lot of work here in town with our lakes and rivers. And without them, we wouldn't have the pristine lakes that we have right now and rivers. They spend a lot of time and energy, like all our volunteer groups do in town, in doing a good job in monitoring what we have to do. They come up with some great ideas, great contests, and I'm glad to see all the residents involved with that. So thank you for the Pride group for being involved. Thank you. Okay. Now's your chance to get out. If you're staying, you can stay. That's fine.
Thank you.
See you guys. Okay, motion to open the meeting for public comments.
Second.
Comments? Well, you gonna talk? Are you gonna want to talk? Yeah, not yet. Okay, hold on. We didn't get there yet. I'm sorry. Motion to open the meeting for public comments. Council President Riker, Councilman Giaconetti, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public would like to address, please step up.
So it's a pleasure to be a part of the Pride group, and Jeff Lippman is an amazing artist, and his wife, as you recall, probably actually redesigned this room and did an amazing job. It's beautiful, and it's such a pleasure to sit here and listen to all the government business. Anyway, I'm here tonight to just thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, name and address, right?
Maria Kent, 17 Glen Court. I'm here tonight to just thank you on behalf of the Environmental Protection Committee for the amazing river cleanup, townwide river cleanup, which is done through the Clean Community Program. And we had, just to update you, so you know, we had over 40 people, volunteers attend from various groups. I want to thank in particular Councilman Giaconetta, Councilwoman Polideri, Councilman DeWine, and Councilman Begg for showing up and coming. And we had a wonderful time. It was a team effort again. We also had Mr. Ed Merle, who was retired environmental officer, and he always picked the dirtiest places that in town. And I'll tell you, it's getting harder and harder to find,
Good.
which is always a good thing. But we do have some areas that, you know, have a lot more traffic than others, and garbage that flies around in the from the roads. But I also want to thank, though, to make this program a success, is Julie Donkos, Ed Merle, Karen Murphy, and the recreation groups, Mike Shacatano, Melissa Bechelon, and Mr. John Toronto. He is the Pompton Lakes High School Environmental Club's liaison, and Miss Kimberly Tanella, and he brought 25 students with him alone, and the kids had an amazing time. They had so much fun. And for 2.5 hours, we went around town, and we picked up approximately 500 to 600 pounds of waste. And if you think about that, we're picking up aluminum cans, we're picking up little pieces of paper. So for all of that to collect to that amount of weight is quite an amazing achievement. And that's a lot of garbage and a lot of weight, and that goes to our Clean Community Program. It also goes to our CRS program. So this little program that we put together through the EPC actually touches a lot of different phases, and we get a lot of money off of the CRS program for having the community involvement with cleaning the floodplains and the open spaces and the parks. Not only that, is that was 7 or 8 of the students who came from the high school were Zonta Club or required community volunteer hours. And I'm always happy to sign off on those kids who come and give them those hours. And believe it or not, many times on their transcripts, because sometimes I look at their transcripts for when they go for job applications, they'll come to me and we see them, and they use this program as, something that they're hopefully a potential employer is going to look at. And the schools do take a lot of interest in kids who are involved in environmental programs at the local community. So we really do serve more than one purpose. So I want to be clear about that. But I want to thank Mayor and Council and all the different groups who came to support this, because we can't do it without the folks bending over, picking it up. That's a lot of hard work. I want to especially thank our DPW Superintendent, Dan O'Rourke, and all the staff that he has in picking up the garbage. We tell him at the end of the day where we have the bags, and then they come Monday and Tuesday and pick up and collect the garbage for us. We did have some very special people that donated money, which is my husband Lloyd Kent. The ice cream station donated, 25 or 30 ice cream station, free cones. And let me tell you, they were hot. Like, they went quick. Everybody wanted those ice cream station cones. And Ricky from the R&M hardware store and Tony Boniello's restaurant were very good to us this year. So without their generosity and the financial support, we wouldn't have happened. We also had, with our money from the town money, I had bags made, and I forgot them, but we had 100 bags, and they are totes for your food. what's going to happen in January, my understanding is that there's a new law that says you're not going to be getting plastic bags when you go grocery shopping. So these totes will now, you can use them for your groceries, and you're gonna need them. So it was something that, instead of doing T-shirts like we usually do, I designed the bags, and I had fun doing that. And so it's something that you're going to be using in the future. I have around 50 left. I was going to bring them into Town Hall and let you decide who gets them, new residents, you decide who wants them. So I will bring them in tomorrow. I was going to bring them tonight, but everything we got left. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know and update you. And again, thank you for all the support you've given us for that program.
Thank you. So another group in town, the Environmental Protection Agency, who goes out, a group that goes out and does this. They're all volunteers in town. No one's getting paid. They get all the other committees out there to come and help. And again, makes our community look good. They're cleaning up the properties, the rivers, the places that people are not going to pick up garbage. So I thank everyone who came out. Unfortunately, it was the first time I had to miss it in a while. But everybody over there does a great job. So thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? In the back, please, step up.
How you doing? My name is Justin Foster. I live at 110 Willard Street. I moved in about 5 years ago. Little fixer-upper. Pretty excited. I'm a young man with a young family. Absolutely love Pompton Lakes.
Great.
I spoke to you earlier.
We did.
You're really nice and told me to come address, so that's why I'm here. I was really excited when the corners were going in. I was caught off guard because I'm not a corner, but I understood it, and it's actually worked out in our benefit because me and my wife, we walk across the street a lot, and they see it, so we are excited about that. The only thing I was off guard when I walked home, when I came home from work, I saw that my irrigation that I just got sold 2 months ago. I was so excited about it. I take very good care of my property. I have so much pride. It's my very first house in my life. I had a pretty hard life when I was younger, so I'm so happy to have that house. And it was spliced in half. So I did file a complaint. The officer said you guys could deal with this privately or you could deal with it legally. And I'm like, I would like this to go away. So I talked to the contractor and I'm like, put the coupling in. I'm like, but let's test it to get the dirt out. He didn't do that, so I let that go. So I decided to wait. He said, we'll put it back just like normal. And then they seeded and soiled, which I was really happy about. But the one head now is installed like this, and 1.5 inches above the soil. And I have video. I put it on today. It shoots out to the street.
Okay. So
I thought I can adjust it because it does have like a quarterly adjustment. It didn't work. So I just told the guy, I'm like, I didn't even want to come here. I'm really sick as a dog. All I wanted him to do was put it back normally. That's it. So that one line, and I actually tried myself. I'm like, can I avoid this? Can I put it back myself? And there might be a root in the way because he's literally sticking out like this, 1.5 inches. So the lawnmower would hit it, and I just told him, like, I just didn't want to have to deal with it. I have young kids. You guys know how that is.
So what we'll do is, and we spoke today, and of course, if it's not put back the way it was supposed to, we'll address that. So I'm going to have the engineers and the contractors go back out there, take a look at it. They might want to coordinate with you to turn the water on to make sure, to see if that can happen. So maybe we can make that work, to make it work, because it has to go back the way it started.
Yes, that's all I want, and that's it.
Right.
I'm good.
So we'll make that happen.
Great, so.
Good.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Please step up.
Hi, Peter Shazad, 314 Woodlawn Avenue. To piggyback off of what Maria had said, yes, the river cleanup was a good success. I'd like to thank my fellow club members, Jimmy Rose and Gardner Simmett, for also being there as well. And one of the things I had noticed in the various cleanups that I participated in, I'm usually the only one that has one of these gravels. And as Maria had said, it is hard work, and this makes it 1,000,000 times easier. So I've been bringing these, and everyone's like, oh, that's a good idea, but no one ever brings their own. So I figured, I went and I bought 10 of them, and I'd like to donate them to the town.
That's great, thank you.
And I know there's a few different groups that might utilize them. I don't know, I'll leave it up to you if you would like to maybe distribute them, a few to each group, or maybe have a shed where they can each access them. But
So I gotta believe our DPW might, but I'm sure you guys do not, right? The environmental. Well, let's give them to the town right now. We thank you for the donation, first of all, and we'll figure out who's gonna get them. It is helpful, because I've done it, and you don't have to bend down, so it is.
actually, and why these are even better than the ones I have is that these fold up. And, oh, you gotta get them right, but yeah, they fold up.
Good. I mean, we can probably, if the DPW keeps them, we can probably just keep them together, but definitely will be helpful.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just gotta figure out how to put this back.
Don't break it, it's ours now.
Little practice for a game. Oh, there's a knob here. There you go.
You can leave them with the administrator.
Right over here? And if I still have just another minute.
Ted? Sure.
There was something that was brought to my attention today, and I just had a few questions about it. Notice that there is about 30, maybe 40 cars that are parked down behind, down by the river, that don't have license plates on them. And we're kind of wondering, was there approval given for there to be used cars stored there?
That's private property, so, yeah, that's not, we don't own that property. So whatever they worked out with, the owner, I don't know. It's between them and the owner.
Okay.
I don't know if they need a permit for that. Do they need a permit for that?
I know what you're talking about.
Behind, I saw it myself, behind the hardware store, the parking, it looks like, cars from a dealership of some sort are parked down there along the river. Now, what I remember from the past was, you were allowed to park back there, but you had to move cars until they flooded. That was what the deal was. So I'm sure that's what the deal they have with theirs, because I'm sure they're not going to lose cars. I don't know if they require a permit, but I can follow up on that and find out.
Okay. It also looks like there's there's pavement down there now, like impervious pavement.
No, there's stone in the back, and then the driveway up front.
Okay.
The driveway's part of the buildings. Behind Arnett, yeah. If you go in the back there towards the VFW, along that whole, the riverside there, they park some cars, there's 2 rows of cars back there. I did notice that myself. I've got to assume they worked out some type of deal with a car dealership, but I don't know anything about it.
Registered, so we check into that, if she registered.
All right, so we'll look into that.
Okay, so this is private property, so they don't need town permission to do anything?
I don't know if they do or don't need town property there.
Okay.
We don't have town
I
property
believe
there.
not, as long, again, you can store your car, but as long as it's properly registered and licensed, there has to be protocol to that. So if you want to put a car somewhere, it has to, even on your front lawn. If you have a
Well,
driveway,
but 30
if you have
cars-
a car in your driveway that has no plates on it,
But that becomes a commercial prospect then, that's no longer you storing a car.
Yeah, we'll have to find that out. We'll have to talk to our building department and see what that's about.
Okay.
we'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the donation. Anyone else from the public like to address? Anybody else? All right, that's it.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. The company that has the cars there are City Motor Grouping out of Haskell, New Jersey, 973-530-4600. There's 29 cars there, no plates on them. All the City Motor Grouping signs are on where the plates are. It looks like they just poured quarry process in that area so they could park all the cars on there. That's a floodway.
If they poured something there, that would be a problem. Again, this is all new information.
It's all brand new quarry process.
Well, that would be a problem if they did that.
Right in the floodway, maybe 15 feet from the river.
Yeah, so we'll look into it. This is the first we heard about it, so we'll look into it.
Just piggybacking on what the gentleman had to say. Just want to make a good comment on the car show. Great time, great weather.
Beautiful.
It was a beautiful time. And a comment from the Shade Tree Commission. For the first time since I've been on in 7 years, we planted more trees than we removed. That's what we were shooting for.
Good.
We put in 188 trees this year. 150 with the CSIP grant and 38 from the funds that the mayor and council give us for shade tree. So we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah, sure.
And planting more trees than removing is what we've been shooting for. So let's hope we can keep that up.
So this storm that we just got today caused us some issue because the leaves are still on the trees and they're coming down pretty hard and they're blocking up the storm drains right now. So a couple residents have called about flooded roads, but it was really because the storm drains are covered with leaves. So to piggyback off what you're talking about, if the residents could go out and clean their storm drains of leaves in the next week or two, that would be a great help for everybody around.
I wholeheartedly concur, Mr. Mayor. I mean, sometimes the residents have to take a little initiative and help the town in that instance. The worst thing about this storm that we're right in the middle of now is with 2 to 3 inches of rain possible, tomorrow Now the ground will be saturated, and tomorrow the winds are supposed to hit. And with the trees still leafed out like that, they're like big sails. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Well, you guys do a good job trimming and making sure it's staying on top, so...
Well, we try to.
Yep, so I'm hoping, well, like past storms, we're okay.
We put that on Facebook today, and about the 188 trees, and I also got on there, and I want to thank the mayor and council for all what you've done for Shade Tree as far as funding, and the police department, DPW. Without all your help, we wouldn't be able to do what we did. So I just want to send thanks around. On another note, for at least 6 years, since Katie Cole was the mayor, I've been asking for Montclair Ave to be paved. And it was paved, and I want to thank you guys for doing that, but it was only half paved.
We're doing the other half in the next week or two.
Is that a definite date?
We got a
November
debt,
7th, million, November 8th payment.
Oh, I gotta write that.
write that in big letters.
November 7th. Millie,
Yeah, million on the 7th, paving on 8th.
you are...
And the reason being we didn't pave it all at once was there was a miscommunication with the police department, and they only marked half the road, and they called me asking to tow the cars on the other side. I said, I do not want to tow the residents for our mistake.
I can understand that.
So I said, we'll try to get them to come back, and graciously, the Tilcon said they can come back and do that. So that's what happened.
So, for my voice, it was a communication breakdown. Is that what it was?
I don't know where the breakdown was, but there was a breakdown somewhere.
We don't need to point fingers at anybody. That's right. As long as it's being rectified,
It is.
that's the important thing. Let's see. I've noticed that this meeting usually our meetings are on the second and the fourth Wednesday. This is the third and the fifth Wednesday for October that we're
Yom
having our
Kippur.
meeting.
Yom Kippur Jewish
Yom
holidays.
Kippur,
Excuse me?
Yom Kippur was last Wednesday.
Oh, so we pushed the
Yes.
meetings down a week?
Just for that, the holiday, yes.
Oh, okay.
And then moving in November, we'll only have one meeting date, and December we'll only have one meeting date, because Christmas falls on a Wednesday, and, Thanksgiving, so it'll be one meeting on Thursday, Wednesdays in November and December.
I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Just like I mentioned with our other groups, our Shade Tree Commission does a great job too in doing, again, all volunteers, that's what makes this town do what it's supposed to do. The volunteers come out and support everything they have to, so again, we thank the Shade Tree. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilwoman Palladori?
Second.
Councilman Benny? Jacanetta, all in favor?
Aye.
Against. Approval of minutes, motion to approve the following minutes, regular meeting minutes of September 25th, 2019. Have a motion?
So move.
Councilman Jacanetta? Second. Councilman Benny, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion for bills and claims, motion to approve bills as listed.
So move.
Councilman Bay,
Second.
Council President Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Petitions, we have none. Consent agenda whenever you're ready. Does anybody want anything removed? No. Okay.
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes does not desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 19-189 through 19-193.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Council President Riker?
Second.
Councilman Benny, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Separate action?
Resolution 19-194, ratifying collective bargaining agreement with the Borough of Pompton Lakes Employee Association for the term January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2025, and authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the agreement.
No, okay. Any discussion? Okay. You want to say anything, Kevin, or no? Not really. Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
Councilman Jacanetta? Have a second?
Second.
Councilman Baig, roll call, please.
Councilman Jacanetta.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori? Yes. Councilwoman Riker?
Yes.
Councilman Benny?
Yes.
Councilman Day?
Yes.
Okay. First readings?
This ordinance will be presented for second reading and final adoption on October 30th. Ordinance 19-23, an ordinance regulating and licensing vape shops, electronic smoking, and vapor devices.
Okay, motion to approve ordinance number 19,
One explanation.
explanation, sure, I was going to do it after Brooklyn.
The purpose of this ordinance is to regulate vape shops in the borough, including their licensing, who they can sell to, and what penalties they would incur should they violate the ordinance.
And this is a local ordinance, not, we don't know where the state and federal is going with this, but this
Well,
is...
the state has actually come out with a statute,
did
but it's
they?
not very detailed yet. It's very limited, but the state statute specifically permits municipalities to have their own ordinances.
Okay, motion to approve motion to approve ordinance 1923 for introduction.
So moved.
Councilman Begg?
Second.
Councilwoman Palidori? Roll call, please.
Councilman Giacomo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori?
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Begg?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion, let's start with the motion. Motion to appoint Chris Sudol as member of the Environmental Protection Committee to fill an unexpired term 12/2019. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Council President Riker? Have a second. Councilman Brennan, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, under my report, we'll start with what we were just talking about. We had some pretty nasty weather come through now. It's starting to slow down, which is good to see. But, the leaves are still on the trees, and if the residents could help us out, if they have a storm drain in front of their house, just remove the leaves off the storm drains, because some of the roads are backing up because the drains are covered with leaves. Also, as our Shade Tree Commission did mention, we are expecting some heavy winds tomorrow, so be prepared that some limbs or branches could come down and park accordingly with that. Also mentioned, we had a nice car show put on by the Chamber and the Business Improvement District today. I talked to a reporter who was there, who covers car shows, that's her thing. She said probably one of the nicest car shows she's been to in a long time. She said, perfect settings, perfect weather, nice easy walk, places to go and eat when you're walking. She said you guys did a really nice job. So that's always nice to see. The Chamber and the BID do an outstanding job of putting out events to bring people into town. All those people that were in town hopefully used our restaurants and food service places. So that's the idea behind doing what they did. So kudos and thank you to them. Let's talk about the sidewalk work we've been doing. There's been a lot of talk about the handicap accessible ramps that we've been putting in. That is a federal government grant that we got to put them in for handicap accessibles. There are certain requirements that come along when you put those in, certain heights, certain levels, certain pitches that have to be put in. I know some residents are concerned or unhappy that they were put in front of their house. They will have to be at the crosswalks. That's where they're going to be. This is the second phase of us doing this. I had one put in front of my own house. I did walk with some residents today who had some concerns about them, and I think we've addressed a lot of the concerns. I know one of the residents was here today. Moving forward, everyone should understand there will be striping along the streets where all these crosswalks are, and maybe even a sign put in telling them what's going on there. So unfortunately, this is part of the federal requirements when you take the grant money to do this work. Of course, we're doing it as an end result to make our sidewalks and our crosswalks handicap accessible. So all in all, it's a good thing. Let's get through what we have to do, and then we'll address concerns as they come up. Also, as I mentioned before, just to be prepared, in November, we have one council meeting. I think I have the date here, the 13th, November 13th, and in December, we have one council meeting on December 11th because of the way the holidays fall. I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new turf field, which is not that new right now, but it was nice to see a lot of people there supporting the new field. It looks great. It's well needed in town. They're using it every day, 7 days a week, till 10 o'clock at night. The lights go off automatically at 9 o'clock, till 9 o'clock at night. The lights go off automatically at 9 o'clock. The residents have not really complained about what's going on there, and we're getting a lot more use for our local programs and for the school programs. Even though that's a school project, it was opened up to our youth programs here in town. So our youth soccer and baseball and lacrosse and football do have the opportunity to play on those fields at night if there's availability there. So it's a joint working effort with the Board of Ed, and I'm glad to see it's in. I've heard only good things from people driving through town or not even from town who said, boy, I drove by that field and you guys did a really nice job with the field. So congratulations to the Board of Ed for making that happen. It was a lot of work, there was a lot of time and energy put in, and I thank everybody over there for that. And that is my report.
Okay.
Council President Reichert.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to comment on the car show, my husband has a favorite expression that when we have a magnificent day, he says, boy, this is a Chamber of Commerce day, and it just made me smile because, yes, it was a magnificent day. It was a Chamber of Commerce day for our Chamber of Commerce event. I did have the opportunity to go to the car show with a couple of my grandsons. They had a ball. And the people who were displaying the cars were really good with the kids. They would some of them let them climb in, and they would explain the engine stuff. They were really taken with the kids. My kids had my grandkids had a suggestion, and I had mentioned it to the folks at the chamber who were there, and they said, interesting idea. So I'm just going to throw it out so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle as a possible idea going forward. I know there's a mayor's trophy, and one of the things the kids said to me, well, can't we vote? We have favorite cars, so maybe they'll include a People's Choice Award for next year, so people, as they walk through, will have an opportunity to express the car that seems to interest them. Since we last met, there was a program that was open to the realtors in the general area, and the program was to try to update the realtors on exactly what is meant by the plume, what is meant by a vapor intrusion system, because there have been, as you know, we often deal with a lot of misinformation in this community and in others. And I had the opportunity to go to the program and kick off the event, and I got a lovely note from the local government affairs director from the Realtors Agency, thanking me for coming, and also please sending their thanks to Perry and Pat, who came from EPA, and David and Norma, who came from Comores. I didn't do an official count. My assessment was there were 2 to 3 dozen people in the room. My sense was that it was realtors from different Passaic County communities. There were a couple of local realtors that I saw in the room, but it seemed to be a mixed group, and hopefully that will get the word out. And in addition to the lovely thank you note I got, the EPA put together a very nice, simple PowerPoint, so people would have the words and facts and figures and maps in front of them. And probably the most important thing in their PowerPoint was it had their contact information. So in the event that they're selling a home in this that an agent is selling a home in this community, they have Perry's access number, they have Heather Schwartz from DEP, they have the Comores folks, and it was really very handy for them to have that information before them. I just want to comment real briefly on the recycling program. We've really been trying our darndest to get the word out that recycling has changed not only in Pompton Lakes, but has changed throughout New Jersey and throughout much of the United States. The flyer that we put together, I know I really subscribes to the old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I think the flyer is great, but there's something that struck me that really caught me off guard. And I'm sharing it publicly because I don't know if it caught others off guard, and I think it might require a modification of some sort to the flyer.
So let me just stop you before. This is not the flyer that's going out to the homeowners. We have a different flyer.
Okay.
So this is just something that was on Facebook.
Okay, so let me make my comment, and you'll tell me whether the new flyer addresses this. I was reading the message carefully, and I guess as I'm apt to do, because I tend to read with some specificity and sometimes precision. And I was reading about the bottle caps, and it said, please remove the bottle caps when recycling. And then I'm watching and looking, and I'm saying, okay, when I remove the bottle caps, meaning something like this or the detergent bottle, what am I supposed to do with the bottle cap? Because it didn't specify. So I had a back and forth with Dan O'Rourke, who's our new DPW supervisor, that indicated to me that the bottle cap should be removed. He indicated that it should be tossed, because if you leave it separately in the recycling, then it tends to get caught up in the machinery. I was surprised by his answer. I was thrilled that he got back to me as quickly as he could, but I'm concerned that the material I've seen to date doesn't make that clear. And is that your understanding of the program?
Yeah, that is correct. What you said is correct. The new flyer will have more specific information about caps and metal lids, because the other thing I picked up was a lid of a metal can, even though you're taking it off, does get recycled, because it's a lid off the metal can. Plastic top that you take off a bottle or something to go in the garbage. Any plastic top goes in the regular garbage, and that's part of the deal. Well, that will be in the new flyer.
And if you have a metal soda can and you flipped off those little metal pieces,
That's recycled.
That's aluminum.
That's aluminum.
That's aluminum, okay. Then I have another comment on the recycling program, and again, Dan and I went back and forth a couple of times. I feel that we're spending time, energy, money, trying to reshape people's habits when it comes to recycling. And you've expressed that this is a community full of volunteers, a proud community on many fronts. And my sense is, once people get stuff like this, they will do yeoman's duty to try to follow. But I'm not a psychologist, and psychologists can tell you much better in terms of determining habits. Once we are trying to create new habits, I really feel we are doing ourselves a disservice by not indicating that the plastic bags, which cannot be recycled, do have an appropriate alternative home. And the appropriate alternative home are those boxes that are provided to us by the Trex company. And the more plastic bags we can recycle, the more free benches we get in our town. So I think somewhere in the literature, we need to make it clear that plastic bags are not appropriate for recycle for the general curbside recycling and recycling center. But show a picture of the boxes, indicate where they're located, and let's see if we can...
But it's
get
not
people-
mandatory, so they can't...
It is not mandatory.
They can't throw it in the garbage.
And we can say it's not mandatory, but it's in everyone's best interest to please do that. I've developed a little routine. What I do is I keep a plastic bag in my car, and every time I have plastic that would fall into that category, I shove it into the bag, squish it up real tight, and I periodically just drop it off in the... It's not hard to do, but it falls under the under the category of creating new habits. And so I'm begging those of us up here, those of us over there, please don't miss this opportunity. Indicate it's not mandatory, but
It's also a pilot program. We don't know if they're going to continue.
But while we can do it, while we can seize the opportunity, I beg us to please go forward.
My only concern with that is if they pull the pilot program 4 months from now, we're re-educating again, that there's no...
Can you put a sign by each box, sorry, the pilot program's been
You're
discontinued?
going to have a number of boxes, and if population of the community come out, we're not going to be able to take all those plastic bags.
Well,
They don't get dumped quick enough to do that.
okay, so then the issue is, let's make arrangements to dump them quick enough, because one, it keeps it out of our garbage from a poundage perspective, and two, it gives the community the opportunity to have...
We'll try to work on it, but this is a program that they run, so they decide on the pickups. We
No,
don't-
that's not the way Dan communicated it.
Oh, it is. They come on set scheduled pickup days.
He seemed to indicate that what he would need to do is incorporate one of his people to periodically empty them so that there's room in them, so when the Trex
I
company
didn't know.
comes to pick up, then
He's going to store plastic bags, he said?
it's a detail that needs to be worked out.
Okay, so we'll have to work that out.
So that's what he seemed to indicate to me. So I'm just saying, please, let's try to take advantage of it. Next issue is,
Got more issues?
oh, I got a little list here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be quick. Okay, the others are much quicker. It was very nice to see some positive news in the record. There was an article that said Pompton Lakes promotes pedestrian safety. If you walk around town, you see all these posters. Okay, I'm going to ask, I think it's Councilman Bay, to please convey to the police officers, and maybe if there's something I don't know. I attempted to cross the street at the crosswalk the other day. The same two grandchildren who were walking the car show were holding my hands. We were standing there, it was a bright sunny day, it was middle of the afternoon, and the car that whizzed by me without even flinching was a school vehicle heading over to Windsor. I cannot tell you how aggravated that got me. So how many school vehicles does Windsor have? I don't know whether it's 50, 100. I would very much like the police officers to be put on notice that they need to patrol there, perhaps have a flyer, and indicate that they are going to ticket them, and they need to start paying
There's no,
attention.
they will get a ticket.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is for them, for quote-unquote professional drivers who are supposed to be in charge of, when I say children, now granted, what had happened, the person that was flying by me was flying to get to their pickup, so they didn't have their children in their charge. But to me, that's a very isolated group that can be, just in case they're not reading the posters, because these people don't live in town and walk on our streets, that I would ask you to ask the new acting chief to put them on notice that I think those people need an extra special reminder that they're in there, that
Yes.
they're in our sight.
And we should do that, you're right.
Because that to me just blew my mind. Okay, real quickly. In our packets, this is flu shot season, I got mine today, but we got in our packets an indication for those folks who are involved in other groups, that if you would like the nurse to come to your, to administer flu shots to your groups, what you need to do is reach out to Jill in the office and see if the nurse can accommodate your schedule. Okay? So that's something that we've been apprised of. I see in our agendas, there's lots of upcoming events. The only event that I didn't see that was listed is, there was a bid buck sale announced for November 9th. And remember, the bid bucks are now at Columbia Bank from 11 to 1. And last thing is need a closed session for personnel.
Okay. One closed session. I'm sorry, and I thank the council president for reminding me about recycling. I do want to talk about recycling a little bit. There was a lot of talk about the concerns, and we didn't get the message out, but this is all coming on to us very quickly. What happened was our hauler who picks up our garbage started fining us per week, and not small fines, very large fines. And he said he's been pushed by the state to make sure these fines are put in place. Previous to this, we were doing exactly the same thing. Our hauler was taking all the plastic bags. He has now since stopped taking the plastic bags. The best way we came about of informing everybody was that we started on Facebook, we started on social media. I understand everybody does not have social media, so that's why we did a reverse 911 call. Let's just be clear about reverse 911 calls. I don't like to use them a lot, because then people will ignore reverse 911 calls. You know, I thought it was important enough, because there was some confusion about it, that we do a reverse 911 call. That being said, because some residents were concerned about they had to bring their cans back or did not get picked up, tomorrow is a borough-wide recycling pickup. Anyone on either section of the borough can put out just recycling, not in plastic bags, because the reason your recycling wasn't picked up was probably because it was in plastic bags. Not in plastic bags, and we will one time go out and pick up the recycling. We will still be picking up branches tomorrow. We will be following our regular schedule after that. Everything goes back to normal, and remember, plastic bags especially cannot be recycled. Okay, who is next on my list there? Councilman Giaconetti.
Thank you. We had Maria Kent up here from the Pompton Lakes Open Space Committee, did attend that, my son and I, so we're two tag team, and we did the area across from George's Market. We helped clean that area, took down some of the brush, and just recently I emailed some of you, Dan, we got in some of the no litter signs. So there was one placed there and several throughout the south end by the walkways and that, and he's going to put a couple more up, and it did start with Mr. Brad Glass came out and, brought to my attention. He actually volunteered a lot too and picked it up, and so I told him he was very happy and appreciative. So we had that going. Dan was taking care of that. Also attended the dedication ceremony with the mayor and Acton, Councilman Begg, and it was a good ceremony and a lot of positive feedback with the field. Beginning one with my son and all the kids that play on that field hockey and that. They love it. So and it's a good shot in the arm for the town, and I think it's very positive. I did attend the Shade Tree meeting. As Randy pointed out before, there were 188 trees planted altogether. We planted more trees than we took down. 150 through the CSIP grant, and again 38 through the town that we funded, so the extra funding that we had. We also completed the old removal tree list. Now, the new tree list going forward, we have already 50 trees on there for removal. All right? Already, 50 trees, and we have 23 trees on for pruning. So this goes to show you, coming next year, I know we're doing a budget for next year, while we're looking for the same amount of money, again, because we're being very proactive. Matter of fact, we just had an incident, Randy was called out, Downs was there taking a couple of trees, trimming them, called Randy and come over, so listen, take a look, we're trimming these trees, listen, they're hollow inside. Because there's no sense, these trees gotta come down. So, and then went from pruning, now they're on the list of the 50. So it just gives you an example of what we're incurring with a lot of these trees. And now speaking on that, on the other end, I did send an email to copy to everybody. We're gonna have the DPW take down at least 4 dead plum trees, they got the disease. 3 of them are on, Lennox here, 1 is on Ackerman. So Dan, they're only maybe 6, 7 foot tall, they're small, they can handle them. We did talk to them, and they said, listen, we can do it, we just gotta get the time, but, so the DPW is gonna do that, instead of us paying Downs, now we're gonna probably be busy now, so all this, trees are gonna be coming down, hopefully not
Are you gonna
tomorrow.
replace them with trees, or?
Those trees, well, some of the residents, we're gonna put some back, a different tree, but that'll be on the next, planning list. But we're gonna ask them, because that's what we try to do. We try to ask them if they want them, because this way, a lot of times, they can water them, they'll take care of them. We don't wanna put it out there, we actually, unfortunately, we had some people did not want them there, they don't take care of them, they don't water them, they hit them, they don't care, I'd rather have somebody that's gonna take care of them, gonna take pride, that wants the tree. We had plenty of people that are willing to take the tree, so it makes sense, that's what we try to do. That's always been our philosophy, minus when we planned it a lot with the CSIP grant down to the south end, filling in areas, that was a little bit different. So that's what we try to do, we all feel in agreement that that's what our protocol is moving forward as far as that. And then that's it, that's all I have, man, thank you.
Okay, thank you. One of the other things I want to mention is the crosswalk initiative that we started. I'm sure Councilman DeLine would have talked about that, but he's not here today. So we did get a grant to educate our public about crossing at a crosswalk. We do have a situation that we have a downtown that has a lot of cars parked very tightly on the street, and people are walking not in crosswalks. So that's the first problem that has to be addressed. You have to cross at a crosswalk. The other concern that Council President Riker brought up is cars going through crosswalks without stopping. We do have patrols out there addressing that. People are getting ticketed for it. I'm getting calls about people being very angry about getting tickets about that. Look, if there's someone in the crosswalk and you don't stop, you deserve a ticket in my book. There's no in-between there. There's no warning, hey, by the way, this is a crosswalk, you should have stopped. Everyone knows that's a crosswalk. You have to wait till they cross the street, get on the other red dot area before you can address that. The police will be out there in force looking over this, and you'll see some of our volunteers from the police department out handing out coupons and candy to the kids who are crossing at a crosswalk, trying to educate the kids that, look, you need to cross at the crosswalk. So that's a good program, and I hope we get some education out of that moving forward. Councilwoman Haldori, I'm sorry.
I have a motion to read first.
Good.
Motion to approve the request of St. Mary's Church to close one roadway travel lane of Hamburg Turnpike, Ringwood Avenue, and Wanacue Avenue from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. on Sunday, December 8th, 2019, for the procession of the Virgin of Guadalupe Passaic County freeholders, Hunter Mark Agency, police, and fire departments have been notified.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
On the 7th, I attended Coffee with the Council, which we moved to a new location this month. We are now hosting it at the Hug a Mug Coffee Shop, which is one of the newer businesses in town. It is the owners of the Artistic Art Academy. They now have a coffee shop, pastry shop in the front, and the Art Academy in the back. They did a really nice job with the store, so we were happy to host it there. The next and last one for the year will again be at Hug a Mug. It is November 4th, also on a Monday, so hopefully we'll see you all there. It's an opportunity for the residents to come out and meet with whichever council members and the mayor, if which of us are present that time, to address questions or concerns or familiarize yourself with us in a relaxed atmosphere and visit one of our new local businesses. I also participated in the river cleanup. Excellent job by everyone. Maria thanked everyone that volunteered, donated, or organized it except herself. She does a tremendous amount of work, so I want to thank her for putting that together. Last year, and again this year, I chose with my partner to go to Joe Grill and Willow Field. I coach soccer there, so I happen to notice that there is always a tremendous amount of water bottles left behind. We picked up about 3 bags of garbage just in that area alone, and I would say of all the water bottles we picked up, there was probably about a dozen that hadn't even been opened. So I encourage everyone that's out there, when they're there for games, please remind your children. If you're coaching, please remind your team. Pick up the water bottles and throw them away before you go. Even if they're not yours, pick them up and throw them away. We have a beautiful field there, and it's a shame to see water bottles lying all over all the time. I attended the Rotary Steak and Chops dinner, which this year was in honor of Bill Bashaw, a longtime resident of our community who not only proudly served our community but his country. So it was an honor to be there and watch him be the recipient of being the man of the night at that dinner. So thank you to him for everything he's done. I also was at the car show. It was a lovely day. Everyone that participated did an excellent job. Congratulations to all of the winners. We have a big weekend coming up this weekend. Starting on Saturday, the Pompton Reformed Church does their Autumn Festival, which is a lot of fun. They do a great job putting that together. On Sunday, during the afternoon, the Girl Scouts run almost all through the whole afternoon their Girl Scout Fall Festival. A lot of activities. Each troop has its own little table and booth. We love it. We go every year. Hopefully the weather is beautiful. And we usually go home, have dinner, and then go back again to Hirschfield for the rec committee's Halloween hunt. So that is both on Sunday.
That's Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, both on Sunday. Pompton Reform Fall Festival is Saturday, and then our Girl Scout Fall Festival and Halloween hunt is Sunday.
Is Girl Scouts trunk or treat, or is it different? Is it a trunk or treat event?
I haven't seen any information.
Yeah, there is
for trunk or
something
treat,
going on there, especially.
But this is the Fall Festival.
Okay.
So they
Yes, I
have tables
thought they
set up all over
coordinated
Hirschfield,
together.
and there's all
Okay.
different activities and games, and they give out prizes and snacks, and it's a lot of fun. I encourage you to continue to check the rec website for the programs that are currently running. We do have the Get Fit program going, the walking club, and a lot of other physical and recreational activities that you can participate in for either little or no cost. And the rec team does an amazing job organizing that. And I want to add something real quick about recycling too. When we had the issue that took place last week, I had reached out to the DEP and to the county coordinator to see if there was any information or anything we could do to share with our residents, to see if we could shed some light on not just what the changes were for us, but why this is happening, because this isn't just our community that's being affected. The surrounding towns are going through the same problem right now. The way we recycle is just changing. And the DEP gentleman that I spoke with sent me back a very long email with numerous links in it, all different kinds of information that they share with communities. I haven't had a chance to get through all of it yet, but the one that I did see that I have started using myself, and our town does participate in, and this might be new to me and everyone else might know about it, but there is an app called Recycle Coach. Is anyone using that?
I am not, but we have it.
Okay, so there
Can you
is
bring that up? Yeah.
a ton of information on that app. So if you have a phone and you can download the app, I encourage you to do it. It's location specific, so not only is our town's recycling calendar on there, you'll get notifications for our recycling days, but there are numerous tabs that you can open that go into exactly list by list what materials are recyclable, how they're recyclable, what they're recycled into, why these changes are happening, what the future of recycling looks like, and specifically to your point, there's a very long page on just plastic bags, what they're recycled into, why they can't be recycled, where they can be recycled. So I encourage all of you, even just having access to our calendar and having the alert sent to your phone, read it, because a lot of the questions that we've been asked are answered on just that app alone. So that is my report.
Okay, thank you. I'll say it again. If you're going to recycle tomorrow, it does not go in a plastic bag. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Pride Photo Contest and thank the Pride volunteers for all they do to keep our lakes clean. Unfortunately, I did not make it to the river cleanup this year. My schedule had some conflicts, but I would like to thank all the folks who helped out. Continued thanks to all our volunteers who help make things happen in our town. The mayor, everybody mentions that our town does run on volunteers. Sunday was a car show. We had beautiful weather. I was lucky to have the privilege of handing out the awards at the end of the show with Councilman Polidori and Councilman Begg. Lots of happy faces. Historic Commission, we are planning for the 125th celebration continues. Our meeting is next Tuesday, the 22nd. Hopefully the mayor can show up. We'll have some guests from the county who want to participate as well. Details to follow regarding that. Bulb Day is coming up.
I'm excited.
Yes. Have you got some room in your office? I'm kidding. We don't have room in your office. 3,000 bulbs should be delivered within the next couple of weeks. Bulb Day is Saturday, November 2nd. A lot of folks already signed up to help plant, and we got the scouts, a bunch of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are signed up to help out. We're still looking for bulb captain, and as bulb captain, you're responsible to pick up your allotted amount of bulbs and then make sure that they are planted. If you can't make it, you can't plant that morning because you have a lot of stuff going on, as long as it's planted, you're good to go. Lastly, congratulations to the children at Lakeside Middle School who were selected to be part of their student council. My daughter Katie was among them, and a couple friends, Leah and Gia from town, and everyone else who was recommended to be part of that. And that is my report.
So do you have, how many bulbs is it?
3,000 there.
3,000. So do you have some groups helping you with that?
Quite a few.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's good, because that's a lot of bulbs. Councilman Begg.
How you doing? I'd like to congratulate the Chamber on a great event. As usual, it's about 20 years now that they've been doing the car show. It's really an enjoyable event, and the weather was just great that day. Also, the Rotary Club, honoring Bill for his all he's done over the years for the VFW is very, very important. And I encourage anybody that wants to join the Rotary Club, I'm a member of the Pompton Lakes Rotary Club. Please join us at Villa Verde on a Wednesday at 12 noon. And hopefully you can join us and participate in a lot of our activities. I attended the Pompton Lakes Prevention Coalition meeting on September 26th. Coalition Coordinator Ashley Lusick reported she attended all the back-to-school nights at Pompton Lakes schools, distributing information on alcohol and drug prevention. She reports that the Pompton Lakes High School Hawk Club will be attending the Passaic County Team Summit at William Patterson University. The Hawk Club and Coalition will be sponsoring two events on October 26th, National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. First at the Borough Hall from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in cooperation with the Police Department in collecting old prescriptions and drugs. And second at the Pompton Lakes High School homecoming football game, distributing alcohol and drug prevention information. I attended the Pompton Lakes Board of Education meeting on October 1st. Superintendent Paul Amoroso reported that Eileen Allen, the head hockey coach, field hockey coach, reached a milestone, winning her 400th game. Diane Gellick, president of the Pompton Lakes Education Foundation presented the board with a $25,000 check to be used for technology. Jane Tanis, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Testing, reported on the state testing report for spring 2019. She reports our students do well, exceeding the state average in all schools in English, language arts, and mathematics. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report from Chief Sean Filippi for the month of September 2019. There were 73 calls for service for the month of September. There were 38 calls in Pompton Lakes, 22 calls in Riverdale, 4 duty calls in Wanacue. There were 49 medical emergencies, 10 trauma injury calls, 1 CPR call, 2 motor vehicle accident calls, and 2 fire calls. I received the Pompton Lakes Police Department report for the month of September 2019 from Chief Derek Clark. There were 2,684 calls for service for the month of September. 858 motor vehicle stops, 14 motor vehicle accidents investigated, 54 ambulance requests, 4 DWI arrests, 25 alarm conditions burglary, 4 alarm conditions fire. There were no burglaries. There were 5 thefts, 1 sexual assault, no aggravated assaults. The Detective Bureau investigated 5 complaints during the month, served 11 subpoenas, and completed 16 background checks. I received a Pompton Lakes Fire Department report for the month of September 2019 from Fire Prevention Chief Al Bruno. He reported 18 calls for the month of September and a total of 253 calls so far for the year. And that's what it is.
I can't say enough positive things about our volunteer fire department and volunteer ambulance squad. Those are all volunteers. They get calls every day and every night. They're all looking for members. If anybody's interested in joining one of those 2 local groups, please reach out to the borough, or they can call me or contact Councilman Begg. These are people that are working full-time jobs most of the time and then still going out at night for calls, all at 3 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. So, they really put another group of volunteers that really puts their time in here in Pompton Lakes, and they don't get heard enough. It's a big thank you for everyone. Professional reports. Minister's report.
I have a couple of things to note, Mayor, before we go into closed session. I provided the governing body a copy of my report last week. The governing body received a copy of the proposed 2020 budget for our municipal joint insurance fund. As you know, that fund covers all of our workman's comp, liability, and so forth, and that's the proposed budget. And once that budget's struck, then the assessments will be divvied out to the communities. I also we also have a copy letter from our Stormwater Management Services Organization, who provided us a full report, color report. They go out every year as part of our Tier 1 requirement, because we're in a Tier 1 environment for streams and rivers, and they go out and inspect all 580 of our catch basins. They inspect all 60 or so of our outfalls, where all of our drains into the river. That report is then taken, and we use that with the rainwater to come in and do all of our catch basin repairs and some of our cleanings, and that is used for that. So that's an important thing to do every year. It helps our CRS program. We credit for that. It also helps during clean communities. Some communities might pay for some of the work Rainwood does in the cleaning of our catch basins. I also was at a program by the county of Passaic. They're going to be doing this local service agreement with communities for foreclosure assistance. It's called ProTrans. And this company actually does all the legwork to find out any vacant or any foreclosed properties, who is the owner of the property, banks. One of the problems we have, or John has, or Sal has, does our enforcement, is to find out who the real bank is. And they seem to lose themselves in mortgage companies, and this company does that. So we're now in the process of working on providing them with current ordinances relative to foreclosure. Because we did one a few years ago, the state asked us to model under. And then we're going to look at that, and we'll get back their responses and start the process to build a shared service agreement, and they'll give us all the tools necessary to allow us to have better control over our foreclosed and vacant properties.
How do they charge us, Kevin?
What?
How do they charge us?
We don't get charged. What happens is that we charge all the properties should register, banks should register, and they get $500 charge, a yearly registration fee. What happens is that the county takes a slice, ProChamps takes a slice, the borough gets an administrative piece to run the program, so to speak, relative using our code enforcement people.
So who pays the 500? The bank?
Yeah,
The bank,
Bank.
okay.
Yeah, but it's administered through ProChamps, so we don't even see the money until we get our slice. And what the other thing is that I can't tell you when we talk to John Lindbergh, how many hours it takes for him to try to research a bank sometimes on a foreclosed property. And it's just going to be so much of a help for us. I mentioned at the last council meeting that we're in the process of updating our ROSI, which is our open space inventory. The last approved open space inventory the DEP has on file is 2004. We did update our ROSI in 2011, which was actually technically adopted 2012. But that didn't cover all the things that we've done from 11 on, it was all the properties.
So some questions came up at the planning board about that.
Property acquisitions.
And they wanted to know, was the change in the Rossi just the added raised homes?
A little bit of everything, because remember now we have a digitized tax map. So now the thing is that some of the land, the acreage is wrong, so there's a whole bunch of everything. So between Mike Parker, our assessor, and Steve Bellini from Ferrara, it took really 7 months, because every time we send down a draft, DEP sent back the corrections. Because DEP has pretty good records, oddly enough, and they kind of realized certain things weren't right. So that kind of corrected some of those problems, and also put on the list all those properties that were taken as part of a buyout. And so now what's going to happen now is that going forward, we'll have an updated ROSI for a while, which means it helps us get one collective Green Acres grants. I mentioned last time was all of our DEP money for all of their portion of the buyouts and renovations was all on hold until this ROSI was updated. Okay. So we're talking about $500,000. So I'm coming back now, this ROSI is updated.
So the planning board wanted to know, is there anything they need to do at this moment? Because it came to them last night.
No.
No, okay.
No. In fact, I tried to get a hold of Ralph Tango, and we were missing each other yesterday.
Right, he didn't see the letter, so he didn't have a lot of information on it, that was the problem.
Since I did the report, I mentioned in my report that the police department was looking at doing a drive sober holiday crackdown. It's under review. Actually, Lieutenant Kopacki asked Sue to do the application. That was actually filed. So we're actually going to be filing for a $5,000 grant for the holiday drive sober crackdown. And as we talked about the crosswalks, we've already had 2 decoy operations already done. Let's see, decoy operations, almost 90 cars are pulled over. I don't know how many actual tickets are in. I can tell you we had one gentleman come in last Friday, he was about 7'2", literally, and was not a happy camper. He said it was a money grab, so this was that. And they found out that he said I was driving so I found a parking space. But his intent to find a parking space, he didn't see a kid in the crosswalk. And the police actually brought the witness. They said, this is a little guy that you weren't paying attention to. You're so intent on, it wasn't about speed, it was about driver attentiveness. There's going to be a couple more between now and the end of the month as part of this program. And then we're going to take the signs down, and then every so often we're going to run a program again. But there's going to be a big push around Halloween week, so just be prepared. The police department does put on their Facebook page. They're out there. They're going to be doing crosswalk enforcement. And as you mentioned, it's not just for drivers, it's for the kids. They're going to be in the schools doing crosswalk, especially in high school, doing crosswalk programs in the next 2 weeks. So the kids understand as they get out of school and go for lunch, this is what you have to do. It's in your best interest and in the driver's business to walk in the crosswalk. So it's a good program. It doesn't cost the borough a dime.
Yeah, the other part of that I see when I'm out there is people crossing in the crosswalks and texting and not even really paying attention.
That's what the signs say. That's what the signs say, keep your head up and walk,
Kevin, there's another point the mayor made, that I would like to reiterate, because we've talked about the people crossing and then the cars not stopping. There was something that the mayor just said in passing that I've also witnessed quite a bit, that even those cars that slow down reluctantly, they sort of ease down into a slow, and the minute you're halfway across, meaning out of their line of attack, they just go up. Now, that I'm assuming is completely illegal. They've got to wait till you get to the end of to the other side.
That's what the red pads are helping to identify.
The red pads.
You gotta be on them to cross and off them to go.
Because that seems to also be an issue.
That's my report.
Any questions for the administrator? No? Okay.
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Good.
Real quick, just before, I forgot to mention, I have a sheet here if you guys wanted to look. I forgot to mention the shade tree. We have this fall planting list coming up within the next couple of weeks from Serbo. We're going to be planting 23 trees at 20 different locations. And each one is going to get a deer guard and stakes on all trees.
Good.
I have the list here if everybody wants to see where the trees are going in the next, this coming fall.
Okay,
All
great.
right, and then,
Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
so moved.
Councilman Giacometto, Council President Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Come up together, let's save time.
Peter Cezanne, 314 Woodlawn Avenue. I must say, my wife is very happy that we have a recycling receptacle here, so I'll be doing my part every time we have a council meeting. Couple questions. You're talking about the regulating the vape shops in town, and then you mentioned as to who can purchase. I mean, out of curiosity, though, wouldn't that be set by the state? Just age, right? Wouldn't that set by the state?
The age is not set, we can set our own age.
You can set your own age?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's curious. Councilwoman Riker, you had mentioned that the bid book sales are at Columbia Bank
Columbia Bank.
from 11 to 1. Is that every Saturday? Or?
No, November 9th. the next
November
one.
9th,
This
okay.
will be, I'm assuming this is the pre-holiday one. I
This
assume
is
there will
right.
not be another one
That's
between
right.
now and the end of the
Okay.
year.
This is the last one for the year.
Okay. And Councilwoman Baldwin, what was the name of that app you were talking?
Recycle Coach.
Recycle Coach.
I think it's on front of our webpage.
It's on our webpage, yes.
Okay.
It's not, there were two that I saw. It looks like this. It's like a little blue and white circle.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Mr. Jan?
Randy Hitton, 443 Montclair Avenue. Just curious, in the talk of the recycling, is anything going to be sent out? Did you talk about a pamphlet that's going to be
Yes.
sent to all the residents?
We'll be sending a pamphlet out in the next week or two, or maybe a little longer, right? Just kind of spelling out everything we've talked about to every resident.
All right, because I did talk to some seniors who
Right.
weren't on the computer, and they weren't on reverse 911, and they were asking me all kinds of questions, especially about the plastic bags. So you made that clear, that's good. Councilman Bay, we have a senior meeting tomorrow. If you would be so kind to make.
Stop by?
Yeah, stop by.
You gonna be there?
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. I'd love to see you.
You're not a senior.
Huh?
You're not a senior.
55 and over. Actually, you're a senior.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Actually, you're a senior there. Let's see, what else were we Senior meeting. Oh, there was a couple meetings back. We had talked about, Mr. Boyle had talked about permit by rule as far as Spring Pond. We were talking about Spring Pond.
Oh, Spring Pond,
And the
yeah.
work that we were doing, and
I don't remember.
the administrator talked about that we just can go in there because of permit by rule.
I don't remember that. Do you remember that?
Yes, DEP has what's called permit by rule. Based upon certain criteria what you're doing, you can do some work within streams and ponds, that is not a permit by rule. But again, what happens, you just don't do that. I mean, we consult with our engineering firm.
Oh, you mean, do we have the permit, or we're applying?
There is no permit.
Oh, there is no permit?
No, it's permit by rule, based upon what you're doing, It's fine, DEP has it in the regs. You fit that criteria, you have to do those permit by rule.
Okay,
There is no permit, actual permit.
okay.
And what you do is you have to talk to your engineer and make sure you fit criteria, and that's how it works.
Does that answer your question, or do you have?
No, but I mean, in that conversation, we were talking about notification of the residents around Spring Pond, and at that time, you had said that you didn't have to notify them at all?
We don't, that's correct.
Okay, but according to the explanation on the New Jersey DEP, it says person conducting a remediation is required to publish a public notice that establishes a 30-day comment period. So there is notification that it's supposed to be on it. This is on the website for the New Jersey DEP.
We'll have to have our engineers look at that. It's the first I've heard of it.
Me too.
So we'll have to take a look at it.
Okay, just wanted to make that point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, privilege of the floor. Anybody privilege of the floor?
Real quick one.
Real quick, go.
Real quick. I just have a little bit of sad news. Those of you who remember downtown with some of the stores from way back when, we had Abe Pressman Jewelry in town for a very long time. Abe Pressman just recently passed away but way into his 90s. So I thought many of you might remember him.
Okay, anybody else privilege of the floor? Just some dates that are on the back of the, I'd like to call about. Don't forget, Election Day, November 5th. The polls will be open from 6 to 8. We have the Pompton Lakes Recreation Halloween Hunt this Sunday, October 20th, 7 o'clock. Every child that comes should bring a flashlight with them. Pompton Lakes Rabies Clinic, Saturday, November 9th, 1 to 3, Pompton Lakes Firehouse. And we'll be having a Veterans Day ceremony Wednesday, November 13th at 6:30. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Councilman Giacoetta, Councilwoman...
Closed session.
Closed session, I'm
All
sorry.
right, so moved then.
Second, Councilwoman Palidori. Thank you. Going into
Me.
closed session, Councilman Giacoetta, Palidori.
I didn't.
Yes, sir.
I didn't.
Councilwoman Palidori. In executive session, we talked about a personnel matter. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Giacoetta, Vice President Bennett. Giacoetta and Bennett. All in favor? Aye. Okay. No, but...